Hello Vlogalogue, welcome to the same early morning thing that it always is. Hi. So this week, I don't really have a lot to say. One, because just copyright law and creative making things, and it's not an area of my expertise, so to say, so I've never really had to venture into it, and therefore I have no strong opinions or indeed facts about the situation. So here is what I will say. There are a lot of variables in a situation where you're dealing with what somebody has supposedly made, or whose is what's its and how's is do's its. Alex touched on this a bit where he talked about like social and like economic, and if you then divide those up even more, things get really complicated really fast, and then you have to realize at the end of the day you're not dealing with like a finite amount of this and this. It's basically just two people who, again, people are extremely complicated, and how they make their stuff and why they make their stuff, whether it be economically or socially motivated, is another thing altogether. And do they feel like, is there an existing relationship between these two? So, for example, if John Green happened to steal some of my content, I might be like fangirling like a crazy person. If, say, Smosh did it, I might be slightly more pissed off about it. So that's just like a very basic way of putting it, but you have to understand that there is no real legislature about this kind of stuff, and the stuff that we do have, which I think is kind of what Kevin touched on, like Creative Commons, is a bit iffy on how exactly each one of them works and how they overlap, because at the end of the day, I think that it's important that we can take pride in what we make and what we do, be it in real life or on the internet. I think that when you have to think about like the economic and social factors and ego and money and the numbers, oh my god, the numbers. So like, if somebody steals your video, say for example, if Kevin happened to come onto my channel and steal a bit of my video without telling me until he released it, and then I was ensued by a bunch of people who came over to my channel, am I gonna get pissed about that? Not really, because he did it in a creative and way that benefited me. If he ever used it to slander me and I had no knowledge, I'd probably be a bit pissed off. But say if Kevin did it now to slander me, I probably wouldn't care, because I would consider us friends and banter and all that. So that is just one example where it's a big mess of variables that sway from person to person, from content to content, from site to site, from country to country even, dependent upon laws. And it's not worth it. It's just not worth jumping in here and trying to have an opinion, because pretty much no matter what side you take, you're gonna be wrong in some instances and right in others. And it's a fucking complicated issue that gives me a headache every time that I think about creativity and art and ownership and the internet and copyright, and it's not worth the headache. Right, now I have to go to work, so I will see you all next week. I'm such a twat.